Hello, my name is Stephanie Fiore, and I'm Associate Vice Provost and Senior Director at the Center for the Advancement of Teaching. Today, I would like to talk to you about the first important step in creating a more accessible classroom environment where students can feel they belong and can succeed. It's called Universal Design for Learning, also called UDL. What's UDL and why should you care? The UDL framework, developed by CAST, was created in 2008 to guide the design of learning environments that are accessible, inclusive, equitable, and challenging for every learner. The goal of the UDL framework is learner agency, that is, the capacity for learners to actively participate in their own learning journey. Early iterations of UDL specifically addressed barriers that students with disabilities commonly face and has been updated a number of times since then. The newest UDL 3.0 framework is a significant change from earlier versions as it more holistically addresses barriers that students may face, including those rooted in biases and systems of exclusion. The UDL framework asks us to consider that it is often the design of the learning environment that's the barrier, rather than a perceived deficit of the student. So by proactively implementing UDL principles in our course design, we can lower barriers to ensure that all students can participate. The best thing about designing a UDL class is that you'll find that the changes you make will benefit people in the most surprising ways. At the CAT one year, we had 3 faculty from Beijing Forestry University join us for our 6-week Provost Teaching Academy in the summer. They spoke fluent English, but of course, international faculty, just like our international students, may have a stronger grasp of reading and writing language, while their ability to produce oral language might not be as strong, especially when they're asked to speak extemporaneously. We realized pretty quickly that responding to an oral prompt in the room was difficult for them. So I emailed the whole group the evening before each session to tell them what we were going to discuss the next day and the kinds of questions we might like them to answer in class. We also put all of the oral prompts on a slide so that they could read the question in class, in addition to hearing the question being asked. As you might imagine, it helped tremendously. They were able to think about the vocabulary they needed to express themselves. They understood better what was being asked, and in general, were able to participate more fully. But an interesting thing happened. A Temple U.S. faculty member told us that she was hard of hearing and that these measures really helped her as well. By putting in place these simple design changes, we addressed both a physical disability and the needs of second language learners at the same time. And I can imagine that others in the room may have benefited who needed time to mull over a question before answering. Or someone who has anxiety about speaking in a large group may benefit from knowing what's happening the next day. A universally designed class means designing your class intentionally so that we address the needs and abilities of our students more fully. So, of course, we at the CAT intentionally continued the practices we began that summer as we design new programming for faculty. So, how do you go about universally designing your course? There's a great graphic organizer at cast.org that you can click through for an understanding of how to begin to think about a UDL framework in your course design. You'll see that the framework includes 3 areas. The first area is multiple means of engagement, or the why of learning. This area considers how affective factors impact student motivation and enthusiasm for learning. The second area, multiple means of representation, or the what of learning, considers how students perceive and make meaning of information. And finally, multiple means of action and expression, or the how of learning, deals with the different ways in which learners navigate the learning environment and learning processes, and how they express what they know. So, how do you get started? We recommend that you use the UDL progression rubric to self-assess where you might already be implementing UDL principles in the design of your course. I can bet that you're already doing some things. For instance, do you clarify the meaning and purpose of the learning goals in your course? If so, you're already designing options for sustaining effort and persistence, one of the multiple means of engagement on the rubric. Do you highlight and explore patterns, critical features, big ideas, and relationships in the content you teach? If so, you're already designing options for building knowledge, one of the multiple means of representation. Do you provide opportunities for students to use multiple media for communication, perhaps film, music, visual art, speech-based media, to allow students to demonstrate what they have learned? If so, you're already designing options for expression and communication, one of the multiple means of action and expression. So start there. What am I already doing? Take a moment to congratulate yourself on lowering barriers for your students. Then move to what you might want to do better, because of course we can all do better. For those design choices that you're already using, consider whether you are employing them at an emerging, a proficient, or a progressing toward expert level. It will help you to think about where you are already a superstar and where you might take a good practice and make it even stronger. Then consider where you have not engaged at all in a practice. Perhaps you've designed quite a few options for multiple means of representation, but your design under action and expression is weaker. What can you change there to make your course more accessible? We are big believers at the CAT in the +1 framework. Commit to one change and implement it. Or maybe for you, DL, one change in each of the 3 areas and implement those 3 changes. Then move on to others as you continue to teach your courses. The UDL framework is a powerful way to think about designing the most accessible and equitable course you can teach. Taking a half hour to self-assess and think about possible changes can make a world of difference for your students. And remember, we at the CAT are here to help you along the way. Make an appointment with us to discuss possible ways to design a UDL course. We're here for you, and we want to help you make a difference for your students. Please visit us at teaching.temple.edu.